For a lot of Australians, buying an ETF like VAS or A200 feels like the modern responsible version of investing. You're not punting on a speculative mining stock. You're not trying to guess the next hot tip. You're doing the sensible thing. You are buying a broad ETF, keeping your fees low, staying diversified, and letting time do the heavy lifting. But that logic only goes so far because an ETF is only as good as what it actually owns. If most of your portfolios are still in Australian equity ETFs or in portfolios built by advisors who treat global investing as Australia plus a small slice of the US, you may still be making an old mistake in a modern wrapper. Now, Australia is a solid and safe market. It has strong companies, a stable system, and a structure many local investors understand. But it represents less than 2% of the global equity markets. So if Australian ETFs make up most of your core portfolio, you're not really buying the market. You're making a narrow regional bet while ignoring the other 98% of the global market. And that has real consequences. Over the last 10 years, the US market returned 13.59% per year, or 257.63% in total, compared with 8.2% per year, or 119.86% in total for the Aussie market. US investors almost doubled the returns of Australian investors over that period. And there's no excuse because Aussies can access the US market directly with ASX listed ETFs. So today we will break down why the typical Aussie ETF portfolio is less diversified than it looks, when Australia does outperform and why that still matters, how wide the performance gap has actually been, what investors can do about it, and which ASX listed ETFs you can buy to fix this. Part 1, the illusion of diversification. When most Australians say they are diversified, what they usually mean is they own a few different ETFs, maybe a couple of individual shares, and they are not putting everything into one stock. Now that is a good start, but when someone comes to my financial advisory firm and says to me, I am diversified, I own ETFs, the first question I always ask is which ETFs? Because if the answer is mostly Australian equity ETFs like VAS and A200, then what you actually own is a concentrated bet on one country, one economic cycle, one currency, and one very narrow set of sectors. This is a very old school Aussie investing mindset. Because the ASX is dominated by banks and miners, those two sectors alone make up a huge chunk of the index. Technology, which has been one of the biggest drivers of global wealth creation over the last decade, makes up around 3% of the Aussie market. Compare that to the US, where technology is by far the largest sector by a significant margin. So if your portfolio is mostly Australian ETFs, you are not just missing out on international markets. You are structurally underexposed to the sectors that have driven the most growth globally. And you might not even realize it because the ETF label makes you feel like you have all your bases covered. The vehicle is modern, but the portfolio logic underneath can still be dated. Part 2, when Australia actually wins. Now, there are specific conditions under which Australia can outperform. And if you understand these conditions, you can make much smarter decisions about when and how much local exposure actually makes sense. The clearest example in recent history was the China-driven resources boom through 2003 to 2008. During that period, China was growing at an extraordinary rate and consuming huge amounts of iron ore, coal, and other raw materials. Australia, as a major supplier of these commodities, benefited enormously, and mining-heavy parts of the ASX performed very strongly. But the question is, are we in that environment right now? China's growth has slowed sharply from the double-digit pace of the mid-2000s, so the backdrop that powered much of the boom is weaker today. The other scenario where Australia can look relatively better is when US growth stocks and tech are under pressure. We saw that most clearly in 2022 when the Nasdaq sold off sharply as inflation and interest rates were repriced higher, while the ASX held up better on a relative basis. But we need to be really careful about how we interpret that. Outperforming because another market fell more is not the same as generating strong wealth. Relative outperformance can sound impressive, but if your market is flat or mildly positive while another market has created vastly more wealth over a full cycle, the comparison can hide the real opportunity cost. And that opportunity cost has been very large. Part 3, comparing returns. Now let's get into the numbers. Using official iShares benchmark data to 31st of March 2026, the figures are pretty striking. Over the last 10 years, the US market returned 13.59% per annum. The Australian market over the same period returned 8.2% per annum, and compounding is not linear. Over a decade, it adds up to 257.63% in total for the US versus 119.86% for Australia. Building around Australian equity ETFs has increasingly looked like an outdated strategy with a real performance cost. And it's not just a US story. Over the same 10-year period, Taiwan, Canada, South Korea, and Norway also outperformed Australia. And that is the issue for investors whose core portfolio is built around ETFs like VAS or A200. Even though they are cheap and diversified within Australia, they are still tied to the weaker long-run opportunity set of the Aussie market. Now, the point here isn't to bash Australia. Australia is a great place to live with strong institutions, a stable economy, world-class resource businesses, and a well-regulated financial system. The ASX also has genuinely good companies in it, and Australia can still deserve a place in a portfolio for income, franking, spending currency alignment, and resource exposure. But good companies in a narrow market is not the same thing as a well-constructed global portfolio, and I think that distinction matters a lot. Part 4, global themes move and why most Aussies miss them. Here is something many Australian investors underestimate about global markets. Themes move. They do not stay in one country or one sector. A trend can begin in US software, move into semiconductors, spread through Taiwan and South Korea, and then flow into supply chains, power infrastructure, commodities, logistics, and other beneficiaries. These moves often play out over months or years, and if you are only focused on the ASX, you will miss a large part of that chain. This is one of the biggest reasons Australian investors often feel late to major opportunities. It's not always because they are slow to act. Often it's because they are not looking where the theme is actually developing. Their attention is anchored to a market that is too small and too narrow to capture most global trends early. South Korea is a good example. It has risen 146% year to date on the back of the AI hardware cycle, and investors could have accessed this through the iShares MSCI South Korea ETF, IKO, right on the ASX. AI is another example. Most of the real exposure is not in Australian shares. It sits across global chips, hardware, data centers, infrastructure, and the platforms built on top of them. Australians can access that through the ASX-listed global ETFs such as AINF. So this is the key point. You do not need an offshore brokerage account or a direct US share access to invest in these themes. The access already exists on the ASX. The problem is that many investors are still positioned as if these opportunities are not available to them. Now, if you want to know which international themes are set to break out soon, click the link below to access the most up-to-date ETF research newsletter in Australia. There's a 4-week free trial, so give it a try. Part 5, what to do instead. So what should you do instead? The first shift is stop using VAS and A200 as the majority of your portfolio and start with a properly diversified core ETF. For investors with a long time horizon and high risk tolerance, that core could be DHHF or VDAL. If you want a little more defensive ballast, VDHG is the next step down. If you want a more balanced option with greater volatility cushioning, VDGR makes more sense again. The reason these are better core options than putting most of your money in VAS or A200 is simple. VAS and A200 are still just the Australian share market funds. They may be low cost, but they concentrate your portfolio in one small market, one currency, and a narrow mix of sectors, especially banks and miners. That is not real diversification. By contrast, the diversified core ETFs in this chart are built as actual portfolio solutions. They spread your money across Australian and international shares, and in some cases bonds as well, in a structure that better matches your stage of life and risk tolerance. And once your core is built properly, international investing stops being an optional extra. It becomes how you avoid missing the next major move. You can see that clearly in the ASX listed ETFs that have already made big moves. Aussie investors could access South Korea through IKO, which is up 146% year to date. They could also access hydrogen through HGen, which is up 177%, and copper miners through Y, which is up 114%, or AI infrastructure through AINF, which is up 82% since inception almost a year ago. These are not obscure offshore products. They are available on the ASX, and if you're not educating yourself on investing internationally, you will miss the next move. The access is already there, but you need to know about these opportunities if you're going to take advantage of them. Now, as a financial advisor of 20 years, I noticed that Australian investors were not really getting this kind of global ETF research anywhere. The product advisors were pushing their own funds. YouTube channels are mostly focused on domestic stuff, and the international picture was just not being covered for Australian investors in a practical, usable way. That is what I'm trying to fix in my weekly newsletter at ETFadviser.com.au. There's a free 4-week trial, no credit card required, and if you go annual, there's a 20% discount. Click the link below. Thanks for watching, and remember, always follow the trend.